gratitude, and live with meaningful intention. Join me on CJAS Vlogs and Inspiration as we unlock the secrets of the inner citadel, transforming your mindset into a sanctuary of serenity and strength. Let this audiobook be your companion on the road, in the chapel, or wherever your faith leads you, empowering you to live fully from within. Remember to like, share, comment, set your notification bell for spiritually, professionally, psychologically, financially, intellectually and personally uplifting content daily. In your comments, tag CJAS Vlogs, and let the wisdom of Dr. Smith light your path to peace and purposeful living. The Inner Citadel, Living from Within, a Stoic Guide to Peace, Confidence, and Meaningful Living by Dr. Colette J. A. Smith. This is an audiobook that will strengthen you mentally, emotionally, and intellectually. Be blessed as you listen. In a world that constantly demands more speed, more approval, more noise, many people find themselves successful on the outside, yet unsettled within. The Inner Citadel, Living from Within, is a timeless guide for those seeking peace without withdrawal, confidence without arrogance, and meaning without exhaustion. Drawing on the enduring wisdom of Stoic philosophy and lived experience, Dr. Colette J. A. Smith invites readers to build an inner stronghold, one that cannot be shaken by uncertainty, criticism, loss, or change. This book is not about escaping life's challenges, but about meeting them with clarity, discipline, and quiet strength. Through reflective insights and practical wisdom, readers will learn how to cultivate emotional mastery without suppressing feeling, develop resilience rooted in purpose, and live from principle rather than impulse. Reclaim peace by mastering what lies within their control. The Inner Citadel is for leaders, professionals, and thoughtful individuals who understand that true power is not found in controlling the world, but in governing oneself. This is not a book to rush. It is a book to live. About the author. Dr. Colette J. A. Smith is an organizational transformation specialist, leadership mentor, author, and speaker with decades of experience guiding individuals, executives, and institutions toward clarity, integrity, and sustainable impact. Her work bridges classical wisdom and contemporary leadership, blending philosophy, emotional intelligence, governance, and lived experience into practical guidance for modern life. Known for her calm authority and deeply reflective approach, Dr. Smith challenges readers to lead from within, grounded in values, disciplined in thought, and anchored in purpose. Through her writing, coaching, and speaking engagements, she continues to inspire others to cultivate inner strength, ethical leadership, and meaningful lives that endure beyond circumstance. Dedication to those striving for resilience, growth, and transformation. To the hearts that rise after every fall, to the minds that seek clarity amidst chaos, to the souls that refuse to be diminished by circumstance, this book is for you. To the dreamers, the quiet warriors, the seekers of truth and peace, to those learning the art of letting go, the courage to stand, and the wisdom to live intentionally, this is your mirror, your guide, your companion. May these pages remind you that within you lies a citadel of strength, clarity, and light. May you navigate life's storms with calm, discernment, and courage, and may every chapter of your journey reflect resilience, growth, and transformation. Life moves fast, and the world often demands more than the heart can bear. We are bombarded with opinions, expectations, setbacks, and endless comparisons. In this turbulence, it is easy to lose sight of ourselves, our values, and our peace. The Inner Citadel, Living from Within, was born from a desire to create a sanctuary in words, a guide to nurturing the mind, strengthening the heart, and living intentionally. It combines timeless Stoic wisdom with soulful reflection, practical exercises, and poetic encouragement. Each chapter is designed to empower you to understand and master your emotions, preserve your peace amidst life's challenges, build resilience, hope, and faith, navigate relationships, work, and social dynamics with clarity, live authentically and intentionally. This book is not about perfection. It is about growth, awareness, and the courage to reclaim your power. It is about building your own inner citadel, a sanctuary that no storm can shake, a foundation for meaningful living, and a space where your mind, heart, and spirit flourish. May these pages inspire reflection, cultivate calm, and illuminate the path toward a life lived with purpose. integrity, and joy. Book guide and key takeaways. The Inner Citadel, Living from Within. Let's begin with the mind focus, Stoic mindset, self-awareness, and cultivating clarity. Takeaway. The mind is the foundation of peace. Nurture it daily through reflection and conscious thought. The power of perspective focus, seeing challenges as opportunities. Takeaway. Life events are neutral. Your interpretation shapes your experience. Choose perspective wisely. Confidence from within focus, self-trust and inner validation. Takeaway. Confidence is cultivated internally. External approval is optional. Relationships and boundaries focus, stoic approaches to friendship and love. Takeaway. Healthy boundaries preserve energy, respect, and authenticity. Navigating stress and pressure focus, emotional resilience and calm under pressure. Takeaway. Stress is not eliminated, but mastery over response preserves peace. Finding happiness from within focus, joy as a byproduct of values and virtue. Takeaway. Happiness is cultivated internally, not borrowed from circumstances or others. Handling difficult people focus, discernment, calm, and emotional intelligence. Takeaway. You cannot control others. You can control your response and preserve your peace. Stop comparing yourself. Focus, self-worth and individuality. Takeaway. Comparison steals joy. Focus on your journey, not others' paths. Stop explaining yourself. Focus, self-respect and boundaries. Takeaway. You do not owe justification. Integrity and action speak louder than words. Navigating different personalities focus, emotional intelligence and adaptability. Takeaway. Observe, respond intentionally, and preserve calm while respecting differences. Maintaining calm in chaos focus, inner peace and self-mastery. Takeaway. Calm is cultivated. Chaos need not disrupt the inner citadel. Discernment and awareness focus, understanding self to understand life. Takeaway. Awareness reveals triggers and patterns. Discernment guides wise choices. Faith, hope, and resilience focus, spiritual grounding and perseverance. Takeaway. Trust in unseen alignment. Maintain hope, and rise resiliently after challenges. Emotional intelligence. Awareness focus, observing thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Takeaway. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills focus, communication, empathy, and boundaries. Takeaway. Effective relationships are rooted in clarity, respect, and intentional interaction. Emotional intelligence, social expertise focus, navigating groups, work, and social dynamics. Takeaway. Read atmospheres, adapt without compromising values, and maintain energy. Emotional intelligence, self-control focus, mastering impulses, desires, and reactions. Takeaway. Self-control transforms emotion from master into servant. Integrity guides action. Endings as beginnings focus, relationship closures and personal growth. Takeaway. Endings are chapters, not the book. Release with gratitude and step forward. What's meant for you will increase focus, trust, alignment, and peace. Takeaway. What belongs to you arrives without disrupting your calm. Release control and trust timing. Emotional intelligence in love and work focus, practical application in relationships and professional life. Takeaway. Balance heart and mind. Respond with clarity, empathy, and integrity. The power of discernment focus, wisdom in everyday choices. Takeaway. Discernment protects peace, energy, and authenticity. Not every battle or voice deserves your attention. Maintaining calm with difficult people focus, advanced strategies for preserving inner peace. Takeaway. Calm is a shield. Respond without reaction. Anchor in values, and protect energy. The art of letting go focus, releasing attachments without losing self. Takeaway. Let go wisely to honor lessons, preserve authenticity, and reclaim peace. Integrating faith, hope, and resilience focus, living intentionally through adversity. Takeaway. Challenges strengthen the inner citadel. Faith, hope, and resilience guide purposeful living. The joy of simplicity focus, peaceful minimalism and presence. Takeaway. Let go of distraction and excess. Cultivate clarity, serenity, and appreciation for the ordinary. Living the inner citadel focus, integrating all principles into daily life. Takeaway. Life is your masterpiece. Every choice, action, and reflection builds a radiant, unshakable inner citadel. Final reflection. Your inner citadel is built from awareness, discernment, emotional mastery, resilience, faith, and simplicity. It allows you to navigate life with calm, courage, and clarity. Your life is not dictated by circumstance, others' opinions, or endings. It is crafted intentionally, moment by moment, as a masterpiece of your own making. Let us begin the journey. Many people today feel overwhelmed, stressed, pulled in 100 directions, yet grounded in none. Lives feel busy, but not meaningful. Connected, yet deeply alone. Successful on the outside, unsettled within. This is where Stoicism enters. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to master our inner world, so that external chaos no longer dictates our peace. It is not about suppressing emotions, but about understanding them. Not about detachment, but about discernment. Not about endurance, but about inner freedom. Modern research has shown that Stoic principles strengthen emotional intelligence, enhance resilience, and cultivate self-control, qualities every leader, professional, and individual needs in an uncertain world. The inner citadel, living from within, is an invitation to return home to yourself, to build an inner stronghold that cannot be shaken by fear, comparison, loss, or noise. Chapter 1: The one thing you truly control. Before we talk about confidence, happiness, relationships, or peace, we must begin with a truth that changes everything. You do not control the world, but you do control yourself. The Stoics believed this single understanding was the foundation of a calm, meaningful life. Without it, we exhaust ourselves trying to manage people, outcomes, and circumstances that were never meant to be in our hands. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, taught that life can be divided into two categories: what is within our control and what is not. Our thoughts, values, choices, effort, and responses belong to us. Other people's opinions, reactions, moods, and decisions do not. The past does not. The future does not. Yet much of our stress comes from living as though they do. We replay conversations in our minds. We worry about how we are perceived. We try to predict outcomes and control relationships. And when life refuses to cooperate, we feel anxious, frustrated, or defeated. The Stoics did not deny pain or difficulty, but they believed suffering increases when we tie our inner peace to external events. When your happiness depends on approval, it becomes fragile. When your confidence depends on outcomes, it becomes unstable. When your peace depends on people behaving a certain way, it becomes temporary. This is why Stoicism teaches inner sovereignty, the practice of ruling your own mind. The inner shift. True strength is not emotional numbness. It is emotional mastery. It is the ability to pause instead of react, to choose reason over impulse, to remain grounded when circumstances shift. When something goes wrong, the Stoic question is not, why is this happening to me, but rather, how will I respond? Because response is where your power lies. Relatable reflection. Someone disappoints you. Plans fall apart. Effort goes unnoticed. Words are misunderstood. In those moments, the Stoic path invites you to stop and ask, is this within my control? If it isn't, release it. Not with bitterness, but with clarity. If it is, act with integrity, patience, and purpose. This does not mean suppressing emotion. It means refusing to let emotion rule you. Confidence from within. Stoic confidence is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It does not depend on validation. It is built by keeping promises to yourself, by acting according to your values even when it's uncomfortable, by choosing self-respect over approval. When your sense of worth comes from within, no criticism can shatter you, and no praise can inflate you. You become steady, not because life is easy, but because your foundation is strong. Closing reflection. Peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from controlling your inner world. Happiness does not come from perfect circumstances. It comes from a disciplined, intentional mind. When you stop giving your power away to things you cannot command, you reclaim the freedom to live well, right where you are. Remember this. Build your life from within, and no storm outside you will ever have the final word. Chapter 2: Friendship, Attachment, and Emotional Freedom. One of the greatest sources of joy in life is friendship, and one of the greatest sources of pain is expecting others to give us what only we can give ourselves. The Stoics did not teach us to avoid relationships. They taught us how to enter them wisely. Friendship, at its best, is a place of mutual respect, honesty, and goodwill. But when attachment turns into dependency, relationships can quietly become a source of anxiety, resentment, and disappointment. The Stoics believed that we often suffer, not because people are unkind, but because our expectations are unexamined. We expect others to always understand us, to show up exactly as we would, to prioritize us the way we prioritize them. And when they don't, we feel hurt, overlooked, or betrayed. But Stoic wisdom reminds us of an important truth. People act according to their own character, not our expectations. You cannot control how loyal someone is. You cannot control how emotionally available they are. You cannot control how long they stay in your life. What you can control is how much of your inner peace you place in their hands. Attachment versus appreciation. Stoicism teaches the difference between appreciation and attachment. Appreciation says, I value this friendship, but I do not lose myself in it. Attachment says, I need this person to behave a certain way for me to be okay. When attachment takes over, fear enters quietly. Fear of being left, misunderstood, or replaced. And fear distorts how we show up. We overgive. We over-explain. We tolerate what unsettles us. Not out of love, but out of fear of loss. The Stoic balance. A Stoic approach to friendship is grounded, not cold. You show kindness without keeping score. You offer loyalty without self-abandonment. You care deeply, but not desperately. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that people would sometimes disappoint him, not because they were evil, but because they were human. This understanding creates emotional freedom. When someone changes, you grieve, but you don't collapse. When someone leaves, you reflect, but you don't lose your worth. When someone disappoints you, you respond with clarity, not chaos. Relatable reflection. Ask yourself gently, am I enjoying this friendship, or clinging to it? Am I expressing myself honestly, or shrinking to be accepted? Healthy friendships expand you. Unhealthy attachment drains you. Stoicism does not ask you to harden your heart. It asks you to strengthen your center. Boundaries as wisdom. Stoic boundaries are not walls. They are lines of self-respect. They say, I can care without carrying what isn't mine. I can love without losing my peace. I can walk away without hatred. You are allowed to choose calm over connection that costs you your inner balance. Closing reflection. The strongest friendships are built between two whole people, not two people trying to complete each other. When you stop demanding that others be your emotional foundation, you become capable of healthier, freer, more honest relationships. And the paradox is this. When you need people less, you often love them better. Choose friendships that add to your life, but never give away the peace you worked so hard to build. Chapter 3. Confidence without arrogance. There is a quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't compete. It doesn't explain itself. It simply stands firm. The Stoics understood this well. To them, confidence was not about being better than others, but about being anchored within yourself. Modern culture often confuses confidence with attention. We are taught that confidence looks like dominance, visibility, or constant self-promotion. But Stoic confidence is different. It is inward, steady, and deeply rooted in character. True confidence does not come from praise, and it does not collapse under criticism. Why? Because it is not built on opinion. It is built on values. The Stoics believed that self-respect is earned through alignment between who you are and how you live. When your actions reflect your principles, confidence follows naturally. You no longer need to convince others of your worth. You know it, because you live it. The trap of comparison. One of the fastest ways to lose confidence is comparison. When you measure your life against someone else's progress, personality, or success, you surrender your peace to a standard that was never meant for you. Stoic wisdom teaches this clearly. You are running your own race. Someone else's path has nothing to do with your calling. Their speed does not diminish your direction. Their success does not invalidate your effort. Confidence grows when you stop looking sideways and start looking inward. Self-mastery over self-promotion. Stoics admired discipline more than display. They believed confidence was shown through restraint, consistency, and integrity, especially when no one was watching. You build confidence when you do what you said you would do. Choose integrity over convenience. Remain calm under pressure. Act according to reason, not impulse. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce self-trust. and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Relatable reflection. Notice how you feel when you act out of alignment with your values. There is tension, doubt, and unease. Now notice how you feel when you act with integrity, even if it costs you comfort or approval. There is calm, clarity, grounding. That calm is confidence. It does not shout. It does not beg. It does not prove. It simply is. Humility and strength. Stoic confidence leaves room for humility. You accept that you are still learning. You welcome correction without shame. You grow without self-contempt. Arrogance demands superiority. Confidence accepts growth. The Stoics knew that a strong person does not need to dominate a room. They influence it through presence, composure, and consistency. Closing reflection. Confidence is not about believing you are better than others. It is about believing you are enough to stand on your own values. When your worth is rooted within, approval becomes pleasant, but unnecessary. Criticism becomes information, not identity. You move through the world calmly, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust yourself to respond wisely. Walk quietly in your truth. Confidence does not need an audience. Chapter 4. Love without losing yourself. Love has the power to soften us, strengthen us, and give life meaning. But when love is unbalanced, it can also become the place where we abandon ourselves. The Stoics believed that love should deepen your life, not consume it. Stoic philosophy does not reject love. It rejects losing your inner stability because of love. Many people confuse love with fusion. The idea that to love deeply, you must merge completely, prioritize another above yourself, or sacrifice your inner peace. But Stoic wisdom offers a different approach. Love rooted in wholeness. You are not meant to disappear in love. You are meant to bring your full self into it. When love becomes the center of your identity, fear enters quietly. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of being alone, and fear slowly reshapes how you behave. You overextend. You compromise your values. You silence your needs. Not because love demands it, but because insecurity does. Stoic love is grounded. The Stoics believed that the healthiest love flows from self-mastery. When you are grounded within yourself, you love without possession, you care without controlling, you commit without self-erasure. Love becomes a choice, not a dependency. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that everything external, including relationships, is temporary. This was not meant to make love cold, but to make it honest. When you accept impermanence, you stop clinging. When you stop clinging, you love more freely. Attachment versus devotion. Attachment says, I need you to stay the same so I can feel secure. Devotion says, I choose you. While accepting that life will change us, Stoic devotion is steady, not desperate. It allows space for growth, individuality, and truth. You do not demand that someone complete you. You walk beside them, whole already. Relatable reflection. Ask yourself gently, am I expressing love, or fear of loss? Am I staying true to myself, or shrinking to keep peace? Love should not cost you your values. Connection should not require self-betrayal. Stoicism teaches that the strongest relationships are formed when two people meet in clarity, not confusion. Let's discuss boundaries in love. Boundaries are not signs of distance. They are signs of self-respect. A Stoic boundary says, I can love you and still honor myself. I can listen without absorbing what harms me. I can stay, or walk away, with dignity. When boundaries are clear, resentment fades. When resentment fades, love has room to breathe. Closing reflection. Love is not proven by how much you endure. It is revealed by how truthfully you live. When you remain rooted in yourself, love becomes calmer, safer, and more enduring. You no longer beg for reassurance. Your presence becomes reassurance. In closing, love deeply, but never abandon the self you worked so hard to become. Chapter 5. Boundaries, self-respect, and inner peace. Many people believe boundaries push others away. The Stoics understood the opposite. Boundaries are what protect your peace and preserve what matters most. A life without boundaries is a life constantly at war with itself. Stoic philosophy teaches that inner peace is not something you find. It is something you defend. Every day, you are presented with demands on your time, energy, attention, and emotions. Without clear boundaries, these demands quietly erode your well-being. The Stoics believed that self-respect begins with discernment, the ability to recognize what deserves your energy and what does not. Not everything requires your response. Not everyone deserves your access. Not every request aligns with your values. Boundaries are how you live this wisdom in practice. Let's examine why boundaries feel difficult. Many people struggle with boundaries because they fear rejection, conflict, or misunderstanding. They say yes when they mean no. They over-explain. They absorb responsibility that is not theirs. But Stoic wisdom reminds us, you are responsible for your actions, not for how others feel about your honesty. Discomfort is sometimes the price of self-respect. Stoic boundaries are calm. Boundaries do not need anger to be effective. They do not need justification to be valid. A Stoic boundary is clear, firm, and composed. It sounds like, this doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. I need to step back. No hostility. No apology. No drama. Just truth. Relatable reflection. Notice how you feel after overextending yourself. There is often resentment, fatigue, and frustration. Now notice how you feel when you honor your limits. There is relief, clarity, and calm. Peace grows where self-respect is practiced. Boundaries and control. The Stoics believed peace comes from focusing on what you can control. Your choices, your responses, your values. Boundaries are an expression of this control. You cannot control whether someone approves of your limits, but you can control whether you abandon yourself to keep the peace. And the Stoics would say, peace that requires self-betrayal is not peace at all. Letting go without guilt. Some people will resist your boundaries. Some will misunderstand them. Some may leave. Stoic wisdom teaches acceptance here, not bitterness. You are not here to be everything to everyone. You are here to live in alignment with your character. When you choose self-respect, you make room for relationships built on mutual respect, not obligation. Closing reflection. Boundaries are not barriers to love. They are pathways to peace. They teach others how to treat you, and remind you how to treat yourself. When you protect your inner world, you create a life that feels calm, intentional, and whole. In closing, protect your peace with clarity and calm. Nothing valuable survives without boundaries. Chapter 6 Stress, Calm, and the Trained Mind Opening. Hook. Life will always place demands on you. The Stoics never promised a stress-free life. They taught how to meet pressure without losing yourself. Calm is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of a trained mind. Stress often arises not from events themselves, but from the meaning we attach to them. A delayed response becomes a personal rejection. A mistake becomes a reflection of our worth. An uncertain future becomes a source of constant worry. The Stoics understood this pattern well. They believed that while events are external, our judgments about them are internal, and it is these judgments that disturb our peace. When you assume the worst, your body reacts as though it is already happening. When you catastrophize, calm becomes impossible. Stoicism teaches us to pause between stimulus and response. That pause is where freedom lies. Train the mind. A trained mind does not eliminate stress. It manages it. The Stoics practiced daily mental discipline, observing thoughts without immediately believing them, separating facts from assumptions, responding with reason rather than panic. This discipline creates space. Instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong, the Stoic asks, what is actually happening right now? Most of the time, the present moment is manageable. Relatable reflection. Think about how often your stress comes from the future, from imagined outcomes that have not yet arrived. The Stoics would gently remind you, you are borrowing trouble from a tomorrow that does not yet exist. Calm returns when attention returns to the present. Control and acceptance. One of the Stoic pillars of calm is knowing what is, and is not, within your control. You can control your effort, your preparation, your attitude. You cannot control outcomes, other people's reactions. Timing. Stress increases when we resist this reality. Calm grows when we accept it. Acceptance is not giving up. It is choosing clarity over resistance. Practicing inner stillness. The Stoics valued stillness, not as escape, but as reset. Moments of reflection throughout the day help restore balance. A pause before responding, a breath before reacting, a reminder of what truly matters. These small practices train the mind to return to calm even under pressure. Closing reflection. You do not need to control life to live well. You need to control your response to it. When the mind is disciplined, stress loses its grip, pressure becomes manageable, and calm becomes a skill, not a coincidence. In closing, train the mind, and calm will follow, even when life refuses to slow down. Chapter 7 Sadness, Perspective, and Inner Resilience. There will be seasons when life feels heavier than usual. Moments when joy feels distant and motivation feels thin. The Stoics never denied sadness. They taught us how to carry it without letting it define us. Stoic philosophy does not ask you to pretend you are fine when you are not. It asks you to understand your emotions without becoming consumed by them. Sadness, like all emotions, is a natural human response. It often arises from loss, disappointment, unmet expectations, or change. The Stoics believed that feeling sadness does not make you weak. It makes you human. What matters is what you do with the feeling. When sadness arrives, many people either fight it or fall into it completely. Stoicism offers a middle path. Acknowledgement without surrender. You notice the emotion. You allow it space. But you do not let it become your identity. Perspective as a tool. The Stoics believed that perspective can soften emotional weight. They reminded themselves that every season passes, every emotion shifts, no moment lasts forever. This awareness does not erase sadness, but it prevents despair. When you remember that today is not the whole story, resilience begins to grow quietly. Relatable reflection. Think of times in your life when you believed you would never move past a difficult moment, and yet, somehow, you did. Stoicism encourages you to draw strength from this truth. You have endured before. This does not minimize your current pain. It honors your capacity to move forward. Inner resilience. Resilience, to the Stoics, was not about emotional toughness. It was about emotional steadiness. It meant taking life one day at a time, focusing on what remains within your control, choosing small, manageable actions even on heavy days. You can choose to care for your body, to speak kindly to yourself, to stay grounded in the present moment. These choices are quiet acts of strength. Acceptance without hopelessness. Stoicism teaches acceptance, not resignation. Acceptance says, this is where I am today. Hopelessness says, this is where I will always be. The Stoic refuses the second. By staying anchored in the present, rather than imagining an unchanging future, you create room for healing, growth, and renewal. Closing reflection. You are not broken because you feel deeply. You are not failing because some days feel heavier. Sadness does not cancel your strength. It reveals it. When you meet difficult emotions with patience and perspective, you learn that resilience is not loud. It is steady. In closing, honor your feelings, but never forget your strength. This moment is not the end of your story. Chapter 8 Happiness from Within. Many people spend their lives searching for happiness in achievements, relationships, possessions, or approval. The Stoics taught a quieter truth. Happiness is not something you find. It is something you build from the inside out. Stoic happiness is not constant excitement or pleasure. It is contentment, a deep sense of steadiness that remains even when life is imperfect. The Stoics understood that external circumstances are always changing. When happiness depends on what changes, it becomes fragile. A promotion brings joy, until expectations rise. A relationship brings comfort, until challenges appear. Success feels fulfilling, until comparison creeps in. Stoic wisdom teaches that happiness rooted in externals will always feel temporary. Instead, they focused on cultivating inner alignment. When your actions reflect your values, happiness follows naturally, not as a thrill, but as peace. Desire and discontent. Much of our unhappiness comes not from lack, but from desire. We want life to be easier. We want people to behave differently. We want outcomes we cannot control. The Stoics believed that freedom comes from refining desire, not eliminating it. You learn to want what is within your control. Integrity, growth, wisdom, peace of mind, and you loosen your grip on what is not. This shift creates contentment. Relatable reflection. Notice how often happiness feels postponed. I'll be happy when things settle down. I'll be happy when I reach the next level. I'll be happy when life looks different. Stoicism gently challenges this thinking. Happiness is not waiting in the future. It is practiced in the present. Gratitude as practice. Stoics regularly practiced gratitude, not as forced positivity, but as perspective. They reminded themselves, I am breathing, I am learning, I am still here. Gratitude does not deny difficulty. It prevents despair from taking over. When you train yourself to notice what is enough, happiness grows quietly. Happiness and character. To the Stoics, happiness was a byproduct of living with character. When you act with honesty, patience, and courage, you feel whole. When your life reflects your values, your mind finds rest. No amount of external success can replace inner alignment. Closing reflection. Happiness is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of meaning. When you stop chasing happiness and start cultivating virtue, peace becomes your default. You begin to realize that happiness was never missing. It was waiting for you to turn inward. In closing, build happiness within, and the world outside loses its power to unsettle you. Chapter 9. Detachment, Desire, and Contentment. Stoics were not against enjoying life. They were against being enslaved by it. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means freedom, the ability to experience fully without losing yourself in what you cannot control. Desire is natural. You want good health, meaningful work, friendships, love, but desire becomes dangerous when it grows unchecked, when your sense of worth or peace depends on fulfillment. The Stoics taught that uncontrolled desire leads to constant unrest. You chase things, people, or experiences, never fully satisfied, always restless. Detachment is the antidote. It is not ignoring life. It is embracing it fully, while keeping your center intact. Practical Stoic detachment. Detachment asks you to separate two things: the object of your desire, your inner state. You can pursue your goals, cultivate relationships, and enjoy beauty, without making your peace dependent on them. This allows contentment to arise naturally, even when life shifts. Relatable reflection. Notice the difference between wanting someone to treat you a certain way to feel worthy, choosing to act with integrity regardless of how they respond. The first creates anxiety. The second creates freedom. Notice the difference between needing recognition to feel competent, doing your best, and letting results speak. One enslaves, one empowers. Contentment as choice. The Stoics believed that contentment is not external. It is an active choice to live according to reason and virtue. When you stop clinging, you stop suffering unnecessarily. When you stop chasing, you stop exhausting yourself. When you stop depending on externals for your happiness, you become free. Detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. It allows you to love fully, work fully, and enjoy fully, without fear or obsession. Desire without attachment. The paradox of Stoicism is that detachment does not remove desire, it refines it. You can still aim for excellence, seek connection, pursue goals, but your identity does not hinge on outcomes. This prevents disappointment from controlling your mood or sense of self. Closing reflection. Contentment is a practice, not a reward. Detachment is not escape, it is mastery. When your mind is free from unexamined desire, you gain a power that external circumstances cannot touch. You can fully experience life without being swept away by it. In closing, desire wisely, detach gracefully, and your inner peace will never be hostage to the world. Chapter 10. Living with Purpose in an Uncertain World. Life is unpredictable. Plans fail. People leave. Circumstances change. The Stoics understood that uncertainty is not a flaw in life. It is the nature of life. Happiness, peace, and confidence do not come from controlling the unpredictable. They come from living with purpose despite it. The Stoics asked one fundamental question: how should I live right now, given what I can control? Your focus, your effort, your character, these are always within reach. Everything else, outcomes, timing, opinions, the actions of others, is not. Living with purpose begins by aligning your daily choices with your values. It is choosing what you stand for, rather than reacting to what you fear. When storms arise, the person with purpose does not panic. They adjust, adapt, and act according to principle. The power of small daily actions. Purpose is not only grand achievements. It is the sum of small, intentional actions. Speaking truth calmly, offering kindness without expectation, completing tasks with diligence, choosing patience over anger. These are the building blocks of a meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Purpose is lived moment by moment. Facing uncertainty without fear. Uncertainty often triggers fear. We worry about what might happen, what we might lose, and what we cannot control. The Stoics teach a simple truth. Fear only grows when you forget what is within your power. You cannot prevent change. You cannot predict outcomes. You cannot control others. You can act virtuously. You can respond wisely. You can uphold your values. This is enough. Relatable reflection. Think of the last time life surprised you. positively or negatively? Did your anxiety come from the event itself, or from your resistance to it? Stoicism trains the mind to accept uncertainty while refusing helplessness. You respond, rather than react. You act with intention, not desperation. Purpose as anchor. When you know your purpose, uncertainty loses its power to destabilize you. Your goals are no longer defined by circumstances. They are defined by your principles. Your peace no longer depends on outcomes. It depends on integrity. Your courage no longer depends on comfort. It depends on commitment. Closing reflection. Life will never be fully predictable. Control is an illusion, but meaning, focus, and virtue are real, and they are always within your reach. The Stoic path is not about a perfect life. It is about a strong mind, a disciplined heart, and a purposeful day, lived well regardless of what tomorrow brings. In closing, anchor yourself in purpose, act with integrity, and the waves of uncertainty will never sweep you away. Chapter 11. Strengthen the mind. Soothe the heart. The mind is a garden, and the heart is its wellspring. What you plant in the mind grows in the heart. Nourish one, and the other will bloom. Neglect one, and both wilt under the weight of the world. Strength of mind is not measured by the absence of storms. It is measured by the calm that rises within you while storms rage. Philosophers across time, from Epictetus to Seneca, have whispered the same truth. No one can take your peace without your permission, and yet, the heart often carries wounds that the mind has yet to heal. Anger, fear, resentment. These are whispers from the past seeking to steal your present. To strengthen the mind, you must first soothe the heart. To soothe the heart, you must first look honestly at your emotions, without judgment, without shame. Allow sadness, grief, or anger to pass through, like clouds over a still lake. Do not cling to them. Do not chase them. Observe, reflect, release. The mind grows strong when it learns to discern between what belongs to it and what does not. It learns that not every word spoken at you requires a response. Not every expectation laid upon you requires compliance. Not every storm outside demands storm inside. The dance of mind and heart, like the river and the shore, the mind and the heart exist in a dance. Too rigid, and the heart cracks. Too soft, and the mind is swept away. When they move together, you are whole. You think clearly. You feel deeply. You act wisely. Your decisions carry calm. Your words carry power, and your presence carries grace. Relatable reflection. Think of the moments when your mind was calm but your heart raced, or your heart was heavy but your mind wandered in fear. The Stoics would remind you, the world is not harmful, your judgments make it so, and Maya Angelou would whisper, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. Strength and serenity are born when the mind sees clearly, the heart feels fully, and both rise above the noise of fear, expectation, and judgment. Daily practices for strength and peace. Begin with stillness. 5 minutes of awareness of breath. Reflect on what truly belongs to you, your thoughts, your effort, your choices. Release what is not yours, others' opinions, past regrets, imagined outcomes. Speak truth softly, act with integrity, and carry love quietly. Closing reflection. A strong mind does not dominate. A soothed heart does not retreat. Together, they become a citadel, a sanctuary no storm can penetrate. Peace is not found in silence outside. It is discovered quietly within. In closing, strengthen your mind, soothe your heart, and you will walk through life as both anchor and sail, unshaken and unstoppable. Chapter 12. Discernment. Difficult people, and rediscovering your authentic self. Not all who cross your path will walk with wisdom. Not all hands extended toward you are meant to lift you. And not all voices shouting for attention deserve your answer. The art of discernment is not learned in comfort. It is forged in the fires of confusion, frustration, and challenge. Life is crowded with voices, some gentle, some harsh, some demanding. Difficult people will test your patience, boundaries, and inner peace. The Stoics remind us, we are disturbed not by the events themselves, but by our judgments about them. Before responding, pause. Before absorbing, reflect. Before engaging, observe. Discernment begins with awareness. It is the skill of seeing clearly, not reacting automatically, and choosing wisely where to place your energy. Difficult people often mirror what we fear most in ourselves, or what we refuse to acknowledge. They are teachers disguised as obstacles. Some provoke to awaken your patience. Some challenge to sharpen your boundaries. Some withdraw to show the value of presence, not expectation. Your task is not to change them. It is to change your response. To remain anchored in your values. To act, not react. Creating distance to rediscover yourself. Sometimes the highest form of courage is to step back. Distance is not abandonment. It is preservation. It is a sacred pause to listen to your own voice. To honor your own rhythm. To remember who you are beneath the noise of others. Too often, we dilute ourselves to be liked, understood, or accepted. We twist into shapes that do not fit our souls. Rediscovering authenticity requires stillness, reflection, and sometimes space. It is in these quiet moments, away from the storm of expectation, that your true self whispers clearly. Relatable reflection. Ask yourself, am I bending to ease someone else's discomfort at the cost of mine? Am I speaking to be heard, or to honor truth? Am I present in this interaction, or lost in my need for validation? The answers are not excuses. They are guides. They show where your energy belongs, where your peace must be defended, and where your soul must be honored. Boundaries and emotional intelligence. Discernment is inseparable from emotional intelligence. It is the ability to feel deeply without being carried away, to empathize without surrendering, to act wisely without resentment. When you combine discernment, boundaries, and emotional intelligence, you navigate conflict without losing yourself. You maintain calm in chaos. You preserve authenticity even among the most challenging personalities. Closing reflection. Difficult people are inevitable. Judgment errors are inevitable. Challenges to authenticity are inevitable. But so is the power to choose. So is the ability to step back, observe, and act with integrity. So is the chance to walk your path without losing yourself. In closing, discern wisely, distance gently, and let your authentic self rise unshaken, luminous, and free. Chapter 13. Avoiding drama, emotional intelligence, and the calm heart. Drama is a wildfire, sometimes far away, sometimes at your door. It consumes energy, clouds judgment, and unsettles the soul. The wise do not walk blindly into chaos. They do not fuel it. They move through it with calm, with clarity, with choice. Life will always present conflict, miscommunication, and emotional turbulence. But the Stoics understood a secret. Peace is not found in controlling the storm outside. You find it in governing the storm within. Drama begins when we surrender our calm to external disturbance. We react too quickly, assume too much, or take on battles that are not ours to fight. Emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, regulate, and respond, becomes your shield. 3 pillars of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. Know your triggers. Observe your reactions before responding. Recognize when fear, pride, or insecurity is shaping your behavior. Self-regulation. Pause before speaking, before acting, before reacting. The Stoics called this the interval between stimulus and response. Within this interval lies freedom, the choice to respond with wisdom, not impulse. Empathy without absorption. Understand others' emotions, but do not carry them as your own burden. Compassion does not require compromise of self. You can care without surrendering your peace. Relatable reflection. Think of a moment when someone's anger or criticism unsettled you. Did you immediately respond? Or did you pause, breathe, and consider? The pause is a tiny citadel. It protects your energy, your mind, and your heart. Avoiding drama. Drama often grows where boundaries are weak, where energy is mismanaged, where fear or pride dictates action. To avoid drama, you must choose your battles wisely. Speak only what aligns with truth. Step away from needless conflict. Preserve your inner space like a lighthouse standing tall. You shine light without being consumed by the waves crashing around you. Maintaining a calm heart. A calm heart is not passive. It is active strength. It allows you to listen without reacting rashly, observe without judging hastily, respond without losing yourself. When your heart is calm, the world may still rage, but your soul remains steady. You do not give your power away. You do not chase what is fleeting. You choose peace, and your choices ripple outward. Closing reflection. Drama will always exist. People will clash, gossip, and provoke, but your mind and heart can remain your own. Emotional intelligence is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. When you practice self-awareness, self-regulation, and empathy without surrender. You build an inner citadel that no chaos can breach. In closing, step lightly through conflict, guard your heart with wisdom, and let calmness be your constant companion. Chapter 14: The Power of Faith and Trusting the Unseen. Faith is the quiet strength that rises when the world feels uncertain. It is the unseen thread that ties your present to hope, your effort to outcome, your heart to purpose. The Stoics spoke of the divine order of the universe. Maya Angelou spoke of resilience that grows unseen, like roots deep beneath the soil. Faith is where these truths meet. Faith does not mean having every answer. It does not mean knowing what comes next. It means trusting that there is a rhythm, a design, and a guiding hand beyond your comprehension. Life is often messy, unpredictable, and raw. Plans falter, people fail, circumstances shift, and yet, faith whispers, you are not abandoned, you are not lost, you are not alone. The Stoics teach that we cannot control events, but we can control our response. Faith allows you to navigate uncertainty without despair. It is the anchor for the mind when waves rise around you. Faith strengthens action. It is not passive waiting. It is the quiet courage to move forward, believing that your effort matters, even when the outcome is unseen. Relatable reflection. Think of times you took a step without knowing where it would lead, whether a new job, a conversation, a move. Faith is what carried you through the unknown. It is what allows you to try again, after setbacks, with hope intact. Faith also nurtures discernment. When you trust in the unseen, you no longer cling to what is harmful or fleeting. You allow the flow of life to guide you toward what aligns with your purpose. Faith in the inner citadel. The inner citadel is built not only on reason and discipline, but on trust. Faith is the stone beneath the mortar of your character. It tells you, you are equipped for what lies ahead. Every challenge carries a lesson. Every ending prepares the soil for a beginning. When you cultivate faith, you stop overburdening yourself with fear. You stop needing to control the uncontrollable. You rest in the assurance that your heart, mind, and effort are not in vain. Practical ways to cultivate faith. Begin your day with reflection. I may not know all, but I am guided. Meditate on past moments when unseen guidance led you forward. Release outcomes beyond your control, while giving your best to what you can influence. Speak affirmations of trust and purpose aloud, letting them settle in your mind and heart. Closing reflection. Faith is not blind. It is attentive, aware, and active. It is the bridge between what you can do and what you cannot. The courage to walk forward even when the path is hidden. In closing, trust the unseen, walk with intention, and let faith be the light that carries your steps through uncertainty. Chapter 15. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of peace. It sneaks into the quiet corners of the mind, whispers doubt into the heart, and leaves you measuring your worth against shadows. Maya Angelou said, if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how extraordinary you can be. The Stoics would add, the world is vast. Your path is your own. We live in a culture that constantly presents us with the lives, successes, and appearances of others. Someone earns what you desire. Someone speaks with eloquence you envy. Someone achieves milestones you long for. It is easy to forget. Comparison is not reality. It is perception. It is a lens that magnifies insecurity and minimizes your own journey. Stoic wisdom teaches that the only life you can truly guide is your own. Your effort, your values, your choices. These are yours. The achievements of another are irrelevant to your purpose. Every person walks a unique path, shaped by unseen circumstances, private struggles, and inner battles. Comparing yourself to them is like judging the sun by the shape of another star. You do not diminish their light, nor does it diminish yours. Relatable reflection. Notice the moments when envy or inadequacy creeps in. On social media, at work, in conversations with peers, ask yourself, am I honoring my journey, or measuring it against theirs? This simple pause is revolutionary. It reminds you that life is not a competition. It reminds you that your pace, your growth, and your story are sacred. The freedom in self-focus. When you stop comparing, you stop chasing approval, you stop shrinking to fit expectations, you stop exhausting energy on judgment, you begin to focus on mastery of your own mind, heart, and life. Self-worth is cultivated, not borrowed. Confidence blooms when you nurture your own efforts rather than tallying the successes of others. Practical tools for freedom. Gratitude journal. Note your progress daily, no matter how small. Reflective pause. When comparison arises, ask, what can I control here? Celebrate others without diminishing self. Admire achievements without envy. They do not take yours. Affirmation of self. Speak to yourself. I am enough, and my path is mine. Closing reflection. Comparison is a distraction, a weight, a thief. Your energy is sacred, your journey unique, your effort meaningful. When you let go of comparison, life opens. You walk freely, unburdened, and fully present in your own growth. In closing, stop measuring yourself against others. Honor your journey, nurture your light, and rise fully into the life meant only for you. Chapter 16. Stop explaining yourself. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your journey, your choices, or your peace. Yet, so often, we speak to justify, defend, or appease, and in doing so, we surrender a piece of our authority. Maya Angelou said, "You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody." The Stoics remind us, your life is yours. Let no one dictate its meaning. Main script. The need to explain oneself arises from a single source. The desire for approval. Approval from friends, family, colleagues, approval from society or culture, approval from those who may never understand. When you explain unnecessarily, you invite judgment, open the door to criticism, and anchor your peace in the perceptions of others. Stoic wisdom teaches that your energy is precious. Your words have power. Use them with intention. You may explain when it is necessary, for clarity or understanding, but when your explanations are born of fear, guilt, or the need to be seen as right, they become chains. Relatable reflection. Notice the moments you feel compelled to defend yourself. After a decision others question, when someone misinterprets your motives, when criticism arises, ask yourself, is my explanation required, or am I seeking validation? This simple pause restores sovereignty. It reminds you, your values are enough, your intentions are enough, your choices are enough. The freedom in silence. Silence is often more powerful than words. It communicates confidence, clarity, and integrity. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your authority, you preserve your energy, you focus on what truly matters, your actions, your growth, your peace. Practical ways to stop explaining. Pause before responding. Ask yourself if your words are necessary or born of defensiveness. Affirm your decisions. Speak internally. I do not need to justify what aligns with my values. Set gentle boundaries. I've shared my perspective. Further discussion is not required. Practice detachment. Understand that others' judgments are their own. They do not define you. Closing reflection. Every unnecessary explanation erodes your confidence. Every moment spent defending yourself is a moment taken from your inner authority. When you choose clarity over defense, when you trust your integrity over approval, you step into a life of quiet power and unshakable peace. In closing, stop explaining. Trust your journey. Let your actions, not your words, testify to your truth. Chapter 17. Navigating different personalities in life and work. The world is full of voices, energies, and ways of being. Some gentle, some loud, some harsh. Not every personality aligns with yours. Not every presence will harmonize with your rhythm. The challenge is not to change them. The challenge is to move through life with discernment, calm, and unwavering authenticity. Life and work are mirrors of diversity. We encounter personalities that test patience, spark creativity, inspire growth, or awaken fear. Some are mirrors of our best selves. Some are mirrors of the shadows we refuse to face. Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. The Stoics would remind us, judge not the event, but your judgment of it. You cannot control personalities, but you can control your engagement. You cannot make others act differently, but you can choose your boundaries, your response, and your center. Types of interactions. The overbearing. They demand attention, agreement, or submission. Response. Hold calm. Enforce boundaries. Speak truth without aggression. The passive-aggressive. They sow tension without words. Response. Observe. Discern motives, and refuse to be drawn into unnecessary conflict. The critic. They challenge, judge, or undermine. Response. Accept constructive insight. Reject hostility that lacks value. The overly dependent. They seek validation or energy constantly. Response. Offer support within your capacity, without self-abandonment. Relatable reflection. Notice how different personalities trigger different reactions in you. Ask yourself, why does this situation disturb me? What is truly mine to manage? How can I remain steady while respecting both myself and others? Emotional intelligence as your compass. The Stoics would say that the wise person is like a tree, rooted, resilient, and receptive, bending without breaking. Observe without absorbing, listen without losing yourself, respond without reacting. This is the art of emotional intelligence. To honor your values, preserve your peace, and navigate relationships with grace. Maintaining calm in complexity. Personality clashes will always exist. Expectations will always vary. Perspectives will always differ. Calm is cultivated when you accept difference without judgment, stay grounded in your principles, speak truth without apology, move through conflict with discernment. The more you practice this, the less others' energy controls your inner world. Closing reflection. You cannot harmonize with every personality. You cannot please every person, but you can remain steady, wise, and authentic. Discernment and calm become your guideposts, allowing you to work, relate, and live without losing yourself. In closing, navigate life with wisdom and composure, and let every personality you meet teach, not unsettle, your soul. Chapter 18. Maintaining a calm heart and inner authority. The heart can be a sanctuary or a battlefield. It can sway with every word spoken, every challenge faced, every shadow of fear. The wise cultivate calm within, and in doing so, they claim authority over themselves, a quiet power no circumstance can shake. A calm heart is not passive. It is the seat of discernment, courage, and steadfastness. It does not mean absence of feeling. It means mastery over reaction, clarity amidst chaos, and sovereignty over your soul. The Stoics teach that external events cannot harm your inner citadel. Only your judgments, your attachments, and your surrender can. Your calm heart becomes your shield. Your inner authority becomes your compass. The foundations of calm, self-knowledge. Understand your triggers, desires, and values. Know what belongs to you and what does not. Self-discipline. Act with intention, not impulse. Choose responses that honor your principles, not reactions dictated by fear or anger. Emotional sovereignty. Feel fully without being swept away. Observe without absorbing chaos. Respond without losing composure. Faith in the unseen. Trust that even uncertainty serves your growth. Trust that your efforts, rooted in virtue, will bear fruit, even if unseen. Relatable reflection. Consider a moment when someone tested your patience or challenged your values. Did you respond in haste, with tension, or with surrender? Or did you observe, breathe, and act from your center? The calm heart does not escalate. It does not allow others' turbulence to dictate its rhythm. It is steady, like a lighthouse, visible, firm, unwavering. Inner authority in daily life. Authority over self is quiet, not loud. It is shown through words spoken with clarity and restraint, decisions made with integrity, boundaries maintained without apology, presence offered without fear. When your heart and mind align in calm authority, you navigate life with power that is invisible but undeniable. Practical practices for calm and authority. Begin each day with stillness and reflection. Take conscious pauses before reacting. Journal thoughts to release agitation and clarify intention. Affirm your values and your sovereignty over your mind and heart. Closing reflection. Calm is not the absence of storms. It is the mastery of the self amidst them. Authority is not control over others. It is mastery over your own choices, energy, and presence. A calm heart and inner authority are the crown jewels of the inner citadel. With them, no disturbance can topple you, no challenge can sway you, and no person can diminish your peace. In closing, guard your heart with calm, wield your authority with quiet strength, and walk through life unshaken, luminous, and free. Chapters. Topics covered to this point. The inner citadel, covering Stoic wisdom for the mind, heart, relationships, and work. Emotional intelligence, discernment, and personal boundaries. Faith, inner authority, and the cultivation of calm. Freedom from comparison, approval seeking, and unnecessary explanation. Chapter 19. The end of the relationship is the end of a chapter, not your book. The best chapters are ahead. Not every relationship is meant to last a lifetime. Not every connection will carry you to the end of your story. Yet, when a bond ends, it often feels like the earth has shifted beneath your feet. The Stoics remind us, Things happen according to their nature. It is your judgment that gives them power. Maya Angelou whispers, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. The end is not destruction. It is transition. It is a closing of one chapter, so the next may begin. When a relationship ends, romantic, platonic, or professional, grief and confusion are natural. Honor them. Feel them. Sit with them. Yet, do not let endings define you. Do not let them diminish your story. A relationship is a chapter, not the book itself. Its lessons, joys, and pains belong to that chapter. Its closure does not erase your value, your potential, or your journey. Stoicism teaches that life flows through cycles. People come into our lives to teach, challenge, or accompany us for a season. When the season ends, so too does the chapter. It is not failure, it is nature. Relatable reflection. Notice how easy it is to cling to the past, to replay conversations, to measure your worth through someone else's presence. Notice how tempting it is to feel incomplete, abandoned, or unready for the next chapter. These feelings are real, but temporary. Your story is not over. You are the author, the narrator, and the hero. Growth through endings. Endings are teachers. They reveal resilience you did not know you possessed. They sharpen discernment, teaching who aligns with your energy and who does not. They strengthen boundaries and self-respect. They remind you of your worth, independent of others' choices. Maya Angelou said, you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. The Stoics remind us, it is not what happens, but how we respond, that shapes our character. You can honor what was, release what is no longer yours to hold, and step into what awaits with courage, clarity, and hope. The best chapters are ahead. Your future chapters are unwritten, luminous, and full of possibility. Every ending clears space for new joy, new growth, new love, and deeper understanding. Trust that what comes next will align with your values, your purpose, and your evolving heart. You carry the lessons of the past without being imprisoned by them. You walk forward, whole, wise, and ready. Practical practices for healing and forward movement. Reflect without rumination. Journal lessons and gratitude from the relationship. Release attachment. Affirm daily. This chapter has closed. I am open to what comes next. Recenter your identity. Spend time alone in reflection, reconnecting with your passions, values, and goals. Visualize new chapters. Imagine the life, relationships, and experiences you wish to cultivate. Closing reflection. The end of a relationship is not the end of your story. It is the gentle turning of a page. It is a reminder that life is fluid, rich, and ever renewing. Your story is vast. Your resilience is profound. Your best chapters have yet to be written. In closing, release the chapter with gratitude. Walk forward with courage. And know, the best pages of your life are still ahead. Chapter 20. What's meant for you will increase, not disturb your peace. Life has a way of testing patience, faith, and calm. Opportunities seem delayed. Doors close unexpectedly. People act unpredictably. It is tempting to chase, push, or cling. It is tempting to let anxiety and fear disturb the peace of your mind. The Stoics teach, we are disturbed not by what happens, but by our judgment of what happens. And the poets remind us, trust the timing of your own life. What is meant for you, what belongs to your path, your purpose, your growth, will arrive in a way that honors your peace, strengthens your heart, and expands your life. Consider the times you grasped, forced, or worried over outcomes. Did these moments bring fulfillment, or tension? True alignment never disturbs your center. It never demands compromise of your values, self-respect, or serenity. It arrives gently, naturally, and in rhythm with your own integrity. The universe, fate, or God, however you name the unseen order, does not bring what belongs to you through chaos, coercion, or fear. It brings abundance, clarity, and opportunity that feels right for your mind, heart, and soul. Relatable reflection. When a door closes, pause and breathe. When someone leaves, release without bitterness. When a plan fails, consider, was this yours to begin with? Did this disturbance teach patience, resilience, or discernment? The answer is often yes. And in that yes lies your peace. Trust and timing. Trust is not passive waiting. Trust is active faith in the alignment of life and your preparedness to receive what is meant for you. It does not rush. It does not panic. It does not demand. It observes. It aligns. And it moves with purpose. When you embrace this truth, your peace is preserved. Your heart remains steady. Your mind is clear. Practical practices to embrace this principle. Affirm daily. What is mine flows to me without cost to my peace. Release control. Focus on effort, intention, and integrity, not forcing outcomes. Observe life's timing. Notice how past opportunities arrived when you were ready, not when you demanded. Center in stillness. Begin each day with meditation or reflection to remind yourself that calm is your natural state. Closing reflection. What is meant for you cannot disturb your peace, diminish your worth, or misalign your path. It is designed to arrive in harmony with your growth, your values, and your integrity. Trust this rhythm. Honor your readiness. Protect your calm. In closing, release control, embrace alignment, and know, what is meant for you will increase, expand, and arrive without stealing your peace. Chapter 21 Emotional Intelligence in Love and Work. Life asks much of the heart and mind. It asks you to love deeply, work diligently, and relate wisely. Yet, the same situations that offer joy also offer challenge. Words can wound, intentions can confuse, and emotions can overwhelm. The key is not to control others, but to master yourself. Emotional intelligence is the art of observing without being consumed, feeling without being enslaved, and responding without losing your center. Emotional intelligence is the bridge between impulse and wisdom. It allows you to navigate love without fear, work without resentment, and life without chaos. The Stoics teach that we are disturbed not by others, but by our own judgments of them. Emotional intelligence helps us refine those judgments, seeing clearly, feeling accurately, and acting intentionally. In love, emotional intelligence is patience, empathy, and integrity. Listen fully before responding. Respond with honesty, not reaction. Care deeply without surrendering your boundaries. In work, it is clarity, composure, and discernment. Observe dynamics before intervening. Speak only when your words advance understanding or solutions. Protect your energy from unnecessary conflict. Relatable reflection. Notice how often frustration comes not from events themselves, but from unprocessed emotions. A harsh word becomes anger because you give it weight. A delay becomes anxiety because you assume the worst. Emotional intelligence teaches you to pause, reflect, and choose. What is mine to manage? What can I release? How can I act with wisdom and integrity? The 4 pillars of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. Recognize your feelings, triggers, and patterns. Self-regulation. Pause, breathe, and respond with intention. Empathy. Understand others' perspectives without losing yourself. Social skills. Communicate clearly, assert boundaries, and maintain respect. These pillars are your shield and compass. They help you maintain your inner citadel while engaging meaningfully with the world. Practical practices. Take a moment before responding to emotionally charged messages. Journal feelings to clarify your internal landscape. Reflect on interactions at the end of the day. What could be approached differently next time? Affirm. I respond from clarity, not from impulse or fear. Closing reflection. Emotional intelligence is not a mask. It is a cultivation of self-mastery that allows your heart to engage deeply and your mind to act wisely. It transforms challenge into insight, tension into calm, and relationships into growth. In closing, master your emotions, guide your responses, and let your heart and mind navigate life with grace, clarity, and unwavering peace. Chapter 22 Building Emotional Intelligence. Awareness. Awareness is the first step to mastery. You cannot navigate your mind, your heart, or your world without knowing where you stand. The Stoics would say, observe your thoughts as if you were a stranger, judge them with care. Maya Angelou would whisper, do not be afraid to see yourself fully, for within truth lies freedom. Awareness is not judgment. It is noticing your emotions, reactions, and patterns without blame. It is watching the mind and heart as they ripple with fear, desire, pride, or joy. When you are aware, you stop being carried by impulse. You recognize the triggers that disturb your peace, the assumptions that cloud your mind, and the attachments that drain your heart. Awareness allows discernment. When frustration arises, you see it before it becomes anger. When envy whispers, you notice it before it steals your calm. When fear paralyzes, you feel it without surrendering. This is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Understanding yourself fully, so your responses are intentional, not reactive. Practical practices for awareness. Daily reflection. Journal moments of tension and joy. Note triggers and responses. Mindful observation. Pause several times a day to notice your thoughts and emotions. Body check-in. Notice tension in your shoulders, heart, or gut. It often signals emotion before the mind does. Pause before reaction. When provoked, breathe and label the emotion before acting. Closing reflection. Awareness is the mirror of the soul. It reflects your patterns, illuminates your blind spots, and empowers your choices. Without it, emotional intelligence cannot grow. Closing line. Signature. See yourself fully, know your heart, and you will navigate life with clarity and purpose. Chapter 23 Building Emotional Intelligence. Interpersonal skills. To understand yourself is to understand others. Interpersonal skills are the bridge between self-awareness and harmony in relationships. The Stoics remind us, we are social beings. To live well, we must live wisely among others. Maya Angelou reminds us, people will forget what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. Interpersonal skills are not about pleasing others. They are about communicating with clarity, empathy, and integrity. This means listening fully, without planning your response. Speaking honestly, without harm or pretension. Navigating conflict with calm, not reaction. When your interactions are guided by understanding and respect, relationships transform. Trust grows. Misunderstandings shrink. Energy is preserved. Practical practices for interpersonal skills. Active listening. Focus fully on the speaker. Observe their emotions. Reflect. Then respond. Boundaries in speech. Speak your truth without attacking or apologizing unnecessarily. Empathy practice. Consider perspectives other than your own without losing your center. Feedback with grace. Offer insights constructively, avoiding blame or judgment. Closing reflection. Interpersonal skill is the art of living gracefully among diverse minds and hearts. It allows your emotional intelligence to extend outward, touching lives while protecting your own peace. In closing, communicate with clarity, listen with empathy, and let your relationships reflect wisdom and respect. Chapter 24 Building Emotional Intelligence. Social expertise. Social expertise is the mastery of navigating groups, communities, and networks without losing self-possession. It is the skill of reading atmospheres, intentions, and dynamics, while remaining anchored in your values. The Stoics teach, adapt to the nature of people without compromising your own. Maya Angelou whispers, when we know who we are, we can walk among the world unshaken. Social expertise is more than charm or persuasion. It is discernment applied to collective spaces. You recognize patterns of influence, tension, and cooperation. You respond to complexity with calm. You cultivate alliances and boundaries with wisdom. This skill allows you to navigate life and work gracefully, avoiding unnecessary conflict and drama, and stepping forward with confidence in diverse settings. Practical practices for social expertise. Observe before engaging. Note dynamics, tone, and energy before acting. Adapt without compromising. Flex to context without violating values. Influence with integrity. Lead or guide subtly. Grounded in truth, not manipulation. Energy management. Know when to engage fully, when to pause, and when to withdraw. Closing reflection. Social expertise is the outward expression of inner intelligence. It ensures your presence in groups uplifts, steadies, and preserves your calm, even amid chaos. In closing, move through groups with wisdom, influence with integrity, and let social intelligence protect and amplify your peace. Chapter 25 Building Emotional Intelligence. Self-control. Self-control is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. It is the mastery of impulses, desires, and reactions, the ability to act with purpose, not instinct. The Stoics remind us, no man is free who is not master of himself. Maya Angelou whispers, we may encounter storms, but we are never powerless within. Self-control allows you to pause before acting, choose action over impulse, preserve integrity in the face of provocation. It is not suppression of emotion, but discipline in response. Anger, fear, or envy may rise, but they do not dictate your actions. Your values guide your choices. Your clarity guides your voice. Your calm guides your steps. Without self-control, emotional intelligence is fragile. With self-control, your awareness, interpersonal skills, and social expertise shine fully. Practical practices for self-control. Pause and label. Name the emotion before responding. Breathe and reflect. Take a moment to decide action based on principle, not reaction. Practice small disciplines. Delay gratification. Manage impulses, and honor commitments consistently. Anchor in purpose. Ask, what action aligns with my values and preserves my peace? Closing reflection. Self-control is freedom in motion. It transforms emotion from a master into a servant. It preserves calm, strengthens integrity, and allows emotional intelligence to flourish. In closing, master yourself, temper your impulses, and let self-control guide every thought, word, and action with clarity and power. Chapter 26 The Power of Discernment in Everyday Life. Life whispers constantly. Choices, challenges, words, and actions all call for your attention. Some are important, some are distractions. Some build you up, some erode your peace. The Stoics teach, if you wish to be strong, learn to distinguish what is within your power from what is not. Maya Angelou reminds us, when we know what to hold close and what to let go, our hearts breathe freely. Discernment is the compass of the soul. It guides decisions, protects energy, and clarifies truth from illusion. Discernment is not judgment without understanding. It is not cynicism or distance from the world. It is the art of seeing clearly what belongs to you, and what does not, what deserves your energy, and what drains it, what is aligned with your values, and what distracts. Every interaction, opportunity, and decision is a test of discernment. Do you engage, retreat, observe, or act? Do you allow words to sway you, or do you anchor in clarity? Discernment begins with self-knowledge. You cannot recognize what is harmful if you do not know what is sacred. You cannot choose wisely if you do not know your values, your boundaries, and your purpose. Relatable reflection. Notice your daily decisions. Who do you spend time with? What thoughts do you nurture? Which opportunities do you pursue? And which do you decline? Discernment shows you that not all battles are yours, not all voices are necessary, and not all paths lead to growth. Practical practices for everyday discernment. Pause and reflect. Before acting, ask, does this align with my values and purpose? Observe without absorption. Witness behaviors, opinions, and circumstances without letting them control you. Protect your energy. Say no to unnecessary conflict, gossip, or demands that drain your mind and heart. Trust your intuition. Often, your inner wisdom knows the right choice before logic convinces you. Discernment also requires courage. It asks you to walk away from what is familiar but harmful, to decline invitations that misalign with your purpose, and to preserve integrity over convenience. Closing reflection. A life without discernment is reactive, exhausting, and scattered. A life with discernment is intentional, peaceful, and anchored. It allows you to see clearly, act wisely, and live fully, without surrendering your energy to noise, chaos, or expectation. In closing, sharpen your discernment, honor your values, and let every choice reflect wisdom, integrity, and peace. Chapter 27 Maintaining calm while handling difficult people. Difficult people are inevitable, at work, in family, even among friends. Their words may sting, their actions frustrate, and their presence may test your patience. The Stoics teach, we are disturbed not by what happens, but by our judgments about it. Maya Angelou whispers, you alone are enough. Let no one shake your center. Your response is your power. Your calm is your shield. Your inner citadel is unassailable when you master both. Handling difficult people is not about changing them. It is about changing your engagement, protecting your peace, and maintaining clarity. Observe without absorbing negativity. Listen without judgment or assumption. Speak truthfully without aggression. Step back without surrendering your integrity. Difficult people often trigger patterns in us: fear, impatience, pride, or defensiveness. Awareness allows you to notice these triggers, and self-control allows you to respond wisely. The Stoic mindset. Detach from outcome. You cannot control their behavior. You can only control your response. Anchor in values. Let your actions reflect integrity, not reaction. Respond. Don't react. Pause. Breathe. And choose words that serve clarity, not conflict. Maintain boundaries. Protect your energy. time, and peace without hostility. Relatable reflection. Recall a moment when someone provoked you. Did you lash out, withdraw, or stew in resentment? Now imagine responding with calm, steady eyes, words measured, and heart intact. This is not passivity, it is mastery. It is the embodiment of emotional intelligence. It is power without violence, wisdom without pride, and authority without domination. Practical practices. Pause before speaking. Even a few deep breaths prevent impulsive reactions. Label the emotion. I notice irritation rising. I will act with clarity. Set gentle boundaries. I respect your perspective, but I cannot engage in this conversation now. Observe without judgment. Witness actions without internalizing them as personal attacks. Reflect and release. After interaction, journal or meditate to release residual tension. Closing reflection. Difficult people will always exist, but they need not disrupt your inner peace. Your calm is a fortress. Your discernment is a compass. Your self-respect is your shield. By mastering engagement, you transform challenge into opportunity, an opportunity to strengthen patience, refine judgment, and walk through life with grace. In closing, stand steady in the presence of challenge, respond with clarity and calm, and let every interaction reflect the power of your inner citadel. Chapter 28. The Art of Letting Go Without Losing Yourself. Letting go is not giving up, it is giving space. Space for healing, space for growth, space for your authentic self to rise. The Stoics remind us, he who is brave is free. Maya Angelou whispers, you may not control all the events in your life, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Letting go preserves what matters, your peace, your clarity, your purpose, while releasing what no longer serves you. Life is a collection of people, experiences, and memories. Some are meant to stay, others are meant to teach and leave. Holding on to what should leave, past pain, ungrateful relationships, resentment, anchors you to suffering. It clouds judgment, drains energy, and disturbs your peace. The art of letting go begins with awareness. You must recognize what belongs to you and nourishes your growth, what drains, diminishes, or distracts what is outside your control. No matter how much you wish it weren't, letting go does not mean you abandon lessons. It means you honor the teaching, release attachment, and reclaim your life. Relatable reflection. Think of a relationship that no longer serves you. The resentment, the expectations, the exhaustion. Does holding on benefit you, or is it time to release, with gratitude for the lessons, and love for yourself intact? Letting go is also about timing. Some things cannot be released overnight. Some require repeated reflection, conscious choices, and patience. Practical practices for letting go. Acknowledge and accept. Sit with feelings fully without denying or suppressing them. Release emotionally. Journal, meditate, or speak aloud to externalize the attachment. Set boundaries. Limit contact or interaction with what disturbs your peace. Reaffirm self-worth. Remind yourself daily, I am whole, even without this attachment. Redirect energy. Focus on growth, purpose, and relationships that uplift you. Letting go is freedom in action. It is the courage to honor your heart while walking away from pain. It is the strength to choose peace over possession, authenticity over approval, and growth over stagnation. Closing reflection. You cannot control every departure or every ending, but you can control your response, your attachment, and your inner state. By letting go wisely, you remain intact, whole, and ready for what comes next. In closing, release what no longer serves you, honor your journey, and step forward with courage, clarity, and unshakable peace. Chapter 29. The Inner Citadel in Action. Faith, hope, and resilience. The storms of life are inevitable. Loss, disappointment, doubt, and challenge. Yet the heart that cultivates faith, hope, and resilience remains unshaken. The Stoics remind us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Maya Angelou whispers, we may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. Your inner citadel is not built in comfort. It is forged in adversity, refined in reflection, and strengthened in trust. Faith is the quiet certainty that life has meaning beyond the moment. It is the knowledge that unseen forces, purpose, integrity, divine order, align in your favor when you act with virtue. Hope is the light that guides your heart forward. It reminds you that endings are beginnings, Obstacles are lessons, and tomorrow holds possibility. Resilience is the muscle of the soul. It allows you to bend without breaking, to endure without surrendering, and to rise each time you fall. Together, faith, hope, and resilience form the trinity of inner strength. They empower you to face difficulty without fear, respond to challenge with clarity, persist when the outcome is uncertain, maintain peace amidst turbulence. Relatable reflection. Recall moments when you were tested, when failure, disappointment, or conflict threatened to overwhelm you. Did you succumb, or did you rise? Did faith, hope, or resilience carry you forward? These qualities are cultivated, not granted automatically. Faith grows through reflection, prayer, or meditation. Hope is strengthened by envisioning possibilities beyond immediate setbacks. Resilience is built by facing challenges consciously, learning, and moving forward with intention. Practical practices for strengthening the inner citadel. Daily reflection. Begin each day affirming faith in your purpose and hope for the journey ahead. Resilience journaling. Record challenges faced and lessons learned. Celebrate small victories. Anchor in values. In moments of pressure, ask, what aligns with my principles? Mindful breathing. Use breath to restore calm and reinforce clarity in adversity. Acts of courage. Take small, intentional actions that expand your comfort zone and build confidence in your strength. Faith, hope, and resilience also allow you to navigate relationships and work without losing peace. You understand that control lies in your responses, not in the actions of others. You remain steadfast, calm, and grounded. Closing reflection. Life will continue to present challenges, but within you is a citadel, built with wisdom, fortified by discernment, and illuminated by faith. When you act from this place, adversity does not break you, it strengthens you. Your heart remains steady, your mind remains clear, your spirit remains unshakable. In closing, stand in faith, move with hope, and rise with resilience. Let your inner citadel guide every step of your journey, unshaken, luminous, and free. The world is loud, fast, and demanding. It presents more possessions, more status, more opinions, than our hearts can hold. Yet, peace is rarely found in accumulation. It is discovered in simplicity, in the quiet, in the intentional choice to live lightly and deeply. The Stoics teach, he is richest who desires least. Maya Angelou whispers, if you are always trying to be better than someone else, you will never be free to be yourself. Simplicity is not deprivation, it is liberation. Simplicity clears space for what truly matters. Relationships that nourish, work that fulfills, thoughts that uplift, moments that bring joy. Complexity and distraction often masquerade as achievement. We fill our lives with noise, tasks, and comparison, and wonder why the heart feels heavy. By returning to simplicity, you reclaim clarity and presence. You notice the beauty in ordinary moments. You hear your inner voice. You live intentionally rather than reactively. Consider your daily life. Are there activities, commitments, or possessions that drain you? Are there comparisons, judgments, or attachments that cloud your peace? Are you moving with purpose, or carrying the weight of expectation? Simplicity invites you to shed the unnecessary, to prioritize your values, and to focus on what brings genuine fulfillment. Practical practices for finding peace through simplicity. Declutter physical space. Clear items that no longer serve you. Create a calm environment. Declutter mental space. Limit consumption of negativity, news, social media, gossip. Prioritize intentionally. Choose commitments aligned with your purpose and values. Practice gratitude. Notice and cherish small, ordinary blessings. Slow down. Take moments to breathe, reflect, and savor the present. Simplicity also strengthens the inner citadel. It reduces unnecessary stress, sharpens focus, and creates room for reflection, joy, and creativity. A simple life is not empty. It is full of presence, peace, and purpose. It allows your heart to rest, your mind to breathe, and your spirit to flourish. By choosing simplicity, you find the treasures hidden in everyday life. Serenity, clarity, and joy. In closing, embrace simplicity, cherish the ordinary, and let your inner citadel shine through a life lived with clarity, peace, and joy. Chapter 30. Living the Inner Citadel. Your life as a masterpiece. Your life is a canvas, every thought, choice, and action a brushstroke. It is not defined by the opinions of others, the storms you encounter, or the chapters that have ended. It is defined by the clarity, courage, and authenticity with which you live. The Stoics remind us, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Maya Angelou whispers, you alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. The inner citadel is complete when all the lessons converge. Faith in what is unseen, hope that carries you forward, resilience that strengthens you through adversity, emotional intelligence that guides relationships, discernment that clarifies choices, calm that preserves peace, simplicity that nourishes the soul. This is your masterpiece. Living the inner citadel means moving through life with intentionality, acting with integrity even when unseen, speaking with wisdom even when challenged, loving fully while preserving boundaries, pursuing purpose while letting go of what is not yours. It means understanding that each chapter, each relationship, setback, or victory, is a brushstroke contributing to the greater painting of your life. Some strokes are bright, some dark, but all are necessary to complete the work. Relatable reflection. Reflect on your journey, the moments you overcame fear, the times you exercised discernment, the occasions you preserved calm amidst chaos, the choices you made to honor your values. These are the marks of mastery, the evidence of the inner citadel in action. Your life is not measured solely by achievement or recognition, but by the depth of presence, peace, and purpose you bring to each day. The way you respond to challenge, navigate relationships, and maintain clarity under pressure defines your masterpiece. Practical practices for living the inner citadel daily. Morning intention. Begin each day with reflection. How will I honor my values today? Evening reflection. Review the day. Celebrate victories. Learn from challenges. Release what no longer serves you. Continuous growth. Seek wisdom through reading, meditation, and reflection. Serve others without losing self. Contribute joyfully, compassionately, and intentionally. Protect your peace. Let discernment guide interactions, boundaries, and choices. Closing reflection. The inner citadel is not a destination. It is a way of being. It is the life you live when thoughtfulness, courage, and love guide every step. It is the masterpiece painted not for applause, but for integrity, presence, and peace. Every brushstroke matters. Every choice counts. Every day is sacred. In closing, live intentionally, act with integrity, and let your life be a masterpiece, a reflection of your inner citadel, radiant, unshakable, and wholly yours. Chapter 31. The power of discernment. Discernment is not judgment. It is clarity without cruelty. It is wisdom without noise. In a world that demands constant reaction, discernment is the quiet strength that allows you to choose where your energy belongs. Not everything that presents itself is meant for you. Not every invitation is alignment. Not every voice deserves access to your inner world. Discernment is the difference between movement and progress. What discernment truly is. Discernment is often mistaken for intuition alone, but it is deeper than instinct. It is intuition refined by reflection, experience tempered by wisdom, and emotion guided by reason. The Stoics spoke of prohairesis, the faculty of choice. Discernment is the modern expression of that faculty. It allows you to pause long enough to ask, is this necessary? Is this true? Is this aligned with who I am becoming? Without discernment, life becomes reactive. With discernment, life becomes intentional. Why discernment matters more than ever. We live in an age of excess. Excess information, excess opinions, excess urgency. The loudest voices are not always the wisest. The most popular paths are not always the most fulfilling. Discernment protects you from unnecessary conflict, emotional exhaustion, misaligned commitments, relationships that drain rather than nourish. It acts as a filter, allowing what strengthens you to pass through, while gently releasing what does not. Discernment and inner peace. Peace is not found by controlling the world. It is found by choosing wisely within it. Much inner turmoil comes not from hardship, but from misalignment. Saying yes when your spirit is saying no. Engaging when silence would serve you better. Holding on when release is required. Discernment teaches you to recognize the subtle discomfort that signals misalignment before it becomes distress. The calm heart listens early. Discernment versus fear. It is important to distinguish discernment from fear. Fear contracts. Discernment clarifies. Fear says, avoid everything unfamiliar. Discernment says, approach thoughtfully. Fear isolates. Discernment selects. When guided by discernment, your choices expand your life rather than shrink it. Learning to read energy and intention. Not all truths are spoken. Some are felt. Discernment allows you to read what lies beneath words. Tone. Consistency. Behavior over time. You learn to notice patterns rather than promises. Actions rather than explanations. Consistency rather than intensity. This awareness is not cynicism. It is maturity. A discerning mind understands that intention is revealed through repetition, not rhetoric. Discernment in relationships. Not everyone who is kind is safe. Not everyone who is familiar is aligned. Discernment teaches you to recognize emotional availability, observe respect for boundaries, notice reciprocity. You learn that connection without clarity leads to confusion, and compassion without discernment leads to depletion. Healthy relationships do not require constant self-abandonment. Discernment and boundaries. Boundaries are discernment in action. They are not punishments. They are instructions. Discernment allows you to set boundaries without guilt and enforce them without anger. You stop over-explaining. You stop negotiating your peace. You stop granting access to those who repeatedly misuse it. This is not hardness. It is self-respect. Discernment in decision-making. Life presents many options, but not all are yours to pursue. Discernment simplifies decision-making by aligning choice with values. Before committing, the discerning mind asks, does this align with my principles? Does this honor my time and energy? Does this move me closer to the life I want to live? Clarity reduces regret. Spiritual discernment. Listening beyond noise. Discernment has a spiritual dimension. It is the quiet knowing that emerges when ego softens and listening deepens. Many traditions teach that wisdom speaks softly. When you cultivate stillness, through prayer, reflection, meditation, or solitude, you begin to recognize guidance that is calm rather than urgent, steady rather than dramatic. What is meant for you brings peace, not confusion. Practicing discernment daily. Discernment is strengthened through practice. Pausing before responding, observing before concluding, reflecting before committing. It grows when you allow time to reveal truth. Rushed decisions often serve urgency, not wisdom. Letting go without bitterness. Discernment teaches graceful release. You learn to let go without resentment, distance yourself without hostility, and decline without apology. You understand that choosing peace over proximity is not rejection, it is alignment. Some chapters end quietly, without explanation. That, too, is wisdom. The freedom discernment brings. When discernment becomes habitual, life feels lighter. You stop chasing what drains you. You stop proving what needs no defense. You stop engaging in what offers no growth. You begin to live deliberately. Closing reflection. Discernment is not about having all the answers. It is about asking better questions. It is the inner compass that keeps you aligned when the world is loud and expectations are many. Final line. Choose discernment daily, and you will walk through life with clarity, grace, and peace. Chapter 32. Dealing with difficult people in the workplace. The workplace is not merely a place of productivity. It is a convergence of personalities, ambitions, insecurities, pressures, and unspoken expectations. To work with others is to encounter difference. To work well is to navigate those differences without losing yourself. Difficult people are not anomalies in professional life. They are part of it. What defines your growth is not their behavior, but your response. Understanding what difficult really means. A difficult person is not always malicious. Often, they are insecure, overwhelmed, poorly self-aware, emotionally unskilled. Some express stress through control, others through criticism, avoidance, or dominance. Understanding this does not excuse harmful behavior, but it prevents unnecessary personalization. The calm professional recognizes that much workplace difficulty is not about you, but about unresolved inner conflict playing out in shared spaces. The Stoic Foundation. Control what is yours. The Stoics offered a timeless principle. Some things are within our control, others are not. In the workplace, you cannot control others' personalities, their emotional maturity, their actions, but you can control, your conduct, your communication, your boundaries, your professionalism. This distinction alone restores equilibrium. When you stop trying to manage others, you reclaim authority over yourself. Emotional intelligence at work. Professional emotional intelligence is subtle. It does not announce itself. It stabilizes environments quietly. It allows you to remain composed under pressure, respond thoughtfully rather than reactively, Communicate clearly without hostility. Disengage without burning bridges. Calm is not weakness in the workplace. It is credibility. Do not personalize what is structural. Some difficulties arise not from individuals, but from systems. Unclear leadership. Misaligned incentives. Poor communication structures. Discernment helps you distinguish between personal conflict and organizational dysfunction. When you mistake systemic issues for personal attacks, frustration grows. When you identify the true source, your response becomes strategic rather than emotional. Boundaries. Professional, not personal. Healthy workplace boundaries are essential. You are not required to over-explain, overshare, overextend. Professional boundaries protect your energy and reputation. They sound like, let me follow up in writing. I'll get back to you after reviewing this. Let's keep this discussion focused on the task. Boundaries do not create distance. They create clarity. Dealing with manipulation, gossip, and power play. Some workplaces harbor unhealthy dynamics. Gossip masked as bonding. Manipulation disguised as urgency. Power struggles cloaked in professionalism. A calm professional does not participate. You protect yourself by keeping communication factual, documenting interactions, avoiding triangulation, refusing to speak ill of others. Silence, paired with consistency, is often more powerful than confrontation. When communication is necessary, not all conflict should be avoided. Some situations require direct, respectful communication. When addressing difficulty, speak calmly. Focus on behavior, not character. State impact rather than accusation. Clarity diffuses defensiveness. A steady tone communicates authority more effectively than emotional intensity ever could. Choosing your battles. Wisdom is knowing which conflicts are worth engaging. Not every provocation deserves a response. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. Not every slight needs acknowledgement. Ask yourself, will this matter in a month? Does this affect my integrity or my work? Is engagement likely to improve the situation? If the answer is no, restraint is strength. Protecting your inner world. Work occupies many hours of life. It should not occupy your peace. Develop rituals that restore balance. Reflection after stressful days. Physical movement. Silence and rest. A strong inner life prevents external chaos from taking root within you. Growth through challenge. Difficult people often become unexpected teachers. They refine your patience. They strengthen your boundaries. They clarify your values. You do not grow despite them. You grow because you learn how not to become them. Knowing when to leave. Sometimes discernment leads to departure. If an environment consistently erodes your dignity, compromises your values, harms your well-being, then leaving is not failure. It is self-respect. Peace is a legitimate career goal. Closing. Reflection. Professional life will always involve complexity. What must remain simple is your commitment to integrity, clarity, and calm. Difficult people do not define your experience. Your responses do. Finally, carry your professionalism like armor, your calm like wisdom, and your self-respect like a compass. With care and depth. Chapter 33. Rediscovering the authentic self. There comes a moment in life when the noise fades just enough for a question to rise. When did I stop being myself? Not because you were weak, not because you lacked conviction, but because survival sometimes demands adaptation, and adaptation, over time, can feel like disappearance. The authentic self is not lost. It waits patiently beneath expectation, obligation, and performance. How authenticity becomes buried from an early age. Many learn that belonging requires adjustment. You are praised for compliance, rewarded for silence, accepted for convenience. Slowly, the self learns to edit. Authenticity does not vanish in one moment. It fades through repetition, choosing harmony over honesty, pleasing rather than expressing, conforming rather than questioning. None of this is failure. It is a strategy. But what once protected you may later confine you. The cost of inauthentic living out of alignment carries a quiet toll. It shows up as chronic exhaustion, restlessness without cause, resentment toward life you once chose. The soul resists erasure. When you ignore your inner truth for too long, it speaks through discomfort. This is not punishment. It is guidance. The Stoic call to live according to nature. The Stoics taught that peace comes from living in accordance with one's nature. Your nature is not the mask you wear. It is who you are when you are honest, unafraid, and at rest. Rediscovering authenticity is not rebellion against others, it is reconciliation with yourself. Distance as a sacred tool sometimes. Rediscovery requires distance. Distance from voices that drown out your own, environments that reward performance over truth, relationships that demand self-betrayal. Solitude clarifies. In silence, you begin to hear yourself again, not the self shaped by expectation, but the one shaped by essence. Letting go of the need for approval. Approval is one of the most subtle forms of captivity. When your sense of worth depends on external validation, authenticity feels dangerous. Rediscovering the self requires releasing the need to be constantly understood, liked, or affirmed. Not everyone will resonate with your truth. That does not invalidate it. Reclaiming your voice. Authenticity returns in small acts of courage. Saying no without guilt. Expressing discomfort without apology. Choosing alignment over acceptance. Your voice may tremble at first. That is normal. Strength grows through use. Emotional intelligence and authenticity. Authenticity is not impulsiveness. Emotional intelligence allows you to express truth with wisdom, to be honest without cruelty, firm without aggression. You learn that being real does not mean revealing everything to everyone. Discernment guides expression. Unlearning comparison. Comparison erodes authenticity by redirecting focus outward. When you measure your worth against others, you abandon your own path. There is no universal timeline, no single way to live meaningfully. Your journey is valid because it is yours. Faith in the process of becoming. Rediscovery is not instant. It unfolds gradually, through reflection, choice, and patience. Faith, whether spiritual or philosophical, anchors the process. It reminds you that becoming yourself is not a mistake, delay, or deviation. It is the work. Living authentically in the world. Authenticity does not remove difficulty. It removes inner conflict. When your actions align with your values, life simplifies, even when it remains challenging. Peace becomes internal rather than conditional. Closing reflection. The authentic self is not something you create. It is something you remember. It is found in honesty, protected by boundaries, and strengthened through courage. Finally, return to yourself gently. You have always been enough. To ensure full understanding of everything covered in this audiobook, let's explain all relevant concepts. Glossary of key terms. Authenticity. Living in alignment with one's true values, beliefs, and nature rather than external expectations. Authenticity is not impulsive self-expression, but honest self-respect guided by discernment and wisdom. Boundaries. Clear emotional, mental, and behavioral limits that protect one's peace, energy, and integrity. Boundaries are acts of self-respect, not rejection or punishment. Calm heart. An inner state of emotional steadiness and clarity that remains grounded regardless of external circumstances. A calm heart is cultivated through self-mastery, emotional intelligence, and faith. Clarity. The ability to perceive situations, relationships, and choices without distortion from fear, ego, or emotional overwhelm. Clarity allows wisdom to guide action. Compassion. The capacity to understand and respond to the suffering of others with kindness, without sacrificing one's own well-being or boundaries. Control. Sphere of control. A Stoic principle referring to what lies within one's authority, thoughts, attitudes, choices, and actions, versus what does not. Peace grows when energy is focused on the former. Discernment. The ability to perceive truth, alignment, and intention beneath appearances. Discernment guides wise decision-making and protects against emotional, relational, and spiritual misalignment. Emotional intelligence. EI, the capacity to recognize, understand, manage, and wisely express emotions in oneself and others. Emotional intelligence supports healthy relationships, calm decision-making, and inner peace. Empathy. The ability to understand another's emotional experience without absorbing or taking responsibility for it. Empathy fosters connection while maintaining emotional boundaries. Ego. The part of the self driven by fear, validation, comparison, and the need for control. When unchecked, ego disrupts peace. When understood, it can be managed with wisdom. Faith. A deep trust in meaning, order, or purpose beyond immediate understanding. Faith anchors the soul during uncertainty and nurtures resilience, hope, and peace. Inner citadel. A Stoic metaphor for the inner fortress of the mind and spirit, an internal place of refuge where peace, values, and self-mastery are protected from external disturbance. Intentional living, the practice of making choices aligned with one's values rather than reacting impulsively to circumstance or pressure. Intentional living prioritizes meaning over urgency. Misalignment, a state in which actions, relationships, or commitments conflict with one's values or inner truth. Misalignment often manifests as discomfort, restlessness, or emotional fatigue. Peace, an internal state of steadiness and harmony that does not depend on external conditions. Peace arises from clarity, alignment, faith, and emotional self-mastery. Proheresis, a Stoic term referring to the faculty of choice, the ability to choose one's response, attitude, and values regardless of external circumstances. Resilience, the capacity to recover, adapt, and grow through adversity while maintaining inner strength and hope. Resilience is strengthened through faith, reflection, and emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, the ability to recognize one's emotions, thoughts, patterns, and motivations. Self-awareness is the foundation of self-mastery and emotional intelligence. Self-regulation, the ability to manage emotions, impulses, and reactions with intention rather than suppression. Self-regulation allows for thoughtful, dignified responses. Silence, a deliberate choice to pause, reflect, or refrain from engagement. Silence can be a powerful form of wisdom, protection, and discernment. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy emphasizing self-mastery, virtue, rational thought, and acceptance of what cannot be controlled. Stoicism teaches inner freedom through disciplined perspective, values core principles that guide behavior, decisions, and priorities. Living in alignment with one's values fosters clarity, integrity, and peace. Wisdom, the integration of knowledge, experience, emotional intelligence, and discernment. Wisdom guides action with depth, compassion, and restraint. What is philosophy? Philosophy is the lifelong pursuit of wisdom through reflection, reason, and lived experience. It asks the deepest human questions. How should we live? What is virtue? What brings peace? What is within our control? Rather than offering rigid answers, philosophy teaches how to think, how to examine life honestly, and how to live with intention, integrity, and clarity. At its best, philosophy is not abstract. It is practical, grounding, and profoundly human. Philosophers, poets, and thought leaders referenced in this audiobook. Marcus Aurelius 121-180 AD, Roman Emperor. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius is best known for Meditations, a private journal never intended for publication. His writings explore self-discipline, humility, impermanence, and inner peace. Despite immense power, he emphasized restraint, compassion, and mastery of the self. His legacy reminds us that leadership begins within. Impact. He shaped Stoicism into a philosophy of quiet strength, moral responsibility, and inner refuge. Epictetus, c. 50-135 AD, Stoic philosopher, former slave Epictetus taught that freedom is not external but internal. Born into slavery, he emphasized that while we cannot control events, we can always control our judgments and responses. His teachings were practical, direct, and deeply empowering. Impact. He laid the foundation for emotional resilience and the principle of focusing only on what lies within one's control. Seneca the Younger, c. 4 BC 65 AD, Stoic philosopher, statesman, writer. Seneca wrote extensively on anger, grief, time, and the shortness of life. He believed wisdom should be lived, not merely studied. His essays and letters explore emotional regulation, ethical living, and the dangers of excess. Impact. He bridged philosophy and daily life, offering guidance on navigating power, loss, and inner conflict. Socrates, c. 470-399 BC. Classical Greek philosopher Socrates believed that self-examination was essential to a meaningful life. Rather than teaching doctrines, he asked probing questions that exposed assumptions and encouraged critical thinking. Impact. He laid the foundation for Western philosophy and introduced the idea that wisdom begins with humility and self-awareness. Plato, c. 428-348 BC. Philosopher, student of Socrates. Plato explored justice, truth, reality, and the ideal society. Through dialogues, he examined the relationship between virtue and knowledge, emphasizing the importance of moral integrity and philosophical inquiry. Impact. His work shaped ethics, metaphysics, and political philosophy for centuries. Aristotle 384-322 BC. Philosopher, scientist, student of Plato. Aristotle believed in balance, reason, and purposeful living. He taught that happiness, eudaimonia, comes from cultivating virtue and living in accordance with reason. Impact. He influenced ethics, psychology, logic, and the idea that character is built through consistent practice. Maya Angelou, 1928-2014. Poet, author, civil rights activist. Maya Angelou's voice embodied dignity, resilience, and truth. Her work explored identity, trauma, self-respect, love, and inner strength. She wrote with emotional clarity and moral courage, reminding readers of their inherent worth. Impact. She elevated emotional intelligence through language, teaching that strength and gentleness can coexist. Overview. Philosophical traditions and their impact. Stoicism focuses on self-mastery, acceptance of what cannot be controlled, and ethical living. Stoicism emphasizes calm, resilience, and inner freedom. Modern impact. Emotional intelligence, cognitive behavioral therapy, leadership training, resilience practices. Classical Greek philosophy explores truth, virtue, justice, and the examined life through reason and dialogue. Modern impact. Education, ethics, democracy, critical thinking, humanist and poetic wisdom centers lived experience, dignity, identity, and moral courage. Modern impact. Personal development, emotional literacy, social consciousness. Why these voices matter in this book. These thinkers and writers are not quoted as authorities to be worshipped, but as companions in reflection. Their wisdom transcends time because it addresses the unchanging human condition, fear, hope, suffering, purpose, and peace. Together, they teach one enduring truth. A well-lived life is built from inner clarity, moral courage, and conscious choice. The Inner Citadel, Daily Practice Guide. Morning Foundation. Start the day with clarity, mind awareness. Reflect. What thoughts will I nurture today? Faith and hope. Affirm. I trust the journey and welcome new opportunities. Intention setting. Ask. How will I honor my values today? Self-mastery practices confidence from within. Affirm. I am enough. I trust my inner strength. Self-control.
A woman who has been impacting lives positively, serving the Lord fervently, making our mark by creating a legacy. The person is no other than Dr. Colette J.A. Smith.
The Inner Citadel, Living from Within, a Stoic Guide to Peace, Confidence, and Meaningful Living by Dr. Colette J.A. Smith. This is an audiobook that will strengthen you mentally, emotionally, and intellectually. Be blessed as you listen. In a world that constantly demands more speed, more approval, more noise, many people find themselves